Alrighty friends, today you are going to be looking at a number grid to help you figure out what the unknowns are in your boxes. So you have 3 boxes that look a little something like this on your paper. I've put my own numbers into a box to show you an example of what you're going to do for your 3 boxes. And you can use your number grid to help you. This is on the Math Tools page at the very beginning of your packet. So the first thing I'm going to think about is, how is my number grid? What's my patterns on my number grid? And so if I'm looking at my number grid, how is my number, oh man, I wanted that in color. How is my number growing from left to right? So if I'm going this way, I know that it is increasing. Each number is increasing, but I want to think about how much it's increasing by, how much more that number is than the one before it. And if I think about, if I start at 1, how do I get to 2? Or if I start at 2, how do I get to 3? I have to add 1. So when I'm going to the right, I am adding 1. Now I need to think about, all right, if I am going to the left, I'll go down here. If I'm going to the left, how is my number changing? Am I adding still? Or maybe I'm subtracting. If I'm going from 100 to 99, I know that means I have to take away 1. From 77 to 76, I'm taking away 1. Then if I look at my patterns that go up and down on my grid, if I'm moving down on my grid, I'm thinking about, okay, if I go from 10 to 20 to 30 to 40, what is my number changing by? Oh yeah, it's changing by 10, and I'm adding 10 there. I'm not subtracting anything because my number is getting bigger. And then if I think about what my line is going to do, if it goes from the bottom and it goes up, I'm thinking about, how is my number changing from 91, 81, 71? I know it's changing by 10, but this time we're subtracting by 10. So those are the patterns that are happening in my number grid. So now that I know the patterns, it can help me figure out my box. So if I'm thinking about 245, even though my number grid only goes to 100, I know that it would be the same thing as 101, 102, or 201 and 202. So I'm going to pretend that there is a 2 before every number on my number grid. So I'm just going to throw a few 2s so I don't forget. So I'm pretending that this is a 200s number grid. So if I'm thinking about 245, all right, here's my 45. Now, what comes next to it? Because that's what I'm trying to find. Oh, 46. So 246 is my first missing number. And I can check that because is my next number going to be 47? Yes, it is. And so I'm going to keep going on. What's going to come next? It's going to be 248. Sometimes it's a little hard to write on here. Now, if I want to think, okay, I'm at 245. I'm right here. What's going to be underneath it? That's where I'm going to add 10. So that's going to be 255. Oh man, you guys, this is so difficult. And then if I'm going still, so now I'm here, I'm at 255. My next number is 256. Okay, that's right. What comes next? 257. And then 258. So I would fill those in. I'm just going to type them in right here. 257 and then 258. Now, I can do the same thing. I can either start at my 256 and add 10 to get this missing number, or I can start at my 265 and add 1. There's lots of ways that you can work with the patterns. And I'm going to choose to add 10. So I know 256. If I add 10, that's going to get me to 266. And if I add 1, that will get me to 267. So this is how you're going to use your number grid to help you complete those boxes. So go ahead and do that and let me know if you need any help.